How many XRP do you really need to reach your goal? Before I start, I want to say something brave that almost no one ever hears. This could totally change the way you think about money from now on. The truth is that XRP winners are not the ones who try to guess prices, freak out every time prices drop, or second guess themselves all the time. People who understand one easy truth are the ones who win. There is no magic amount, dream price, or age at which you can retire. Retirement depends on where you are in life. And when you know what XRP will be when the world fully switches to on-chain banking, you start to see that retirement isn't that far away. It's a method that can be used right now. A lot of people are not asking the right questions. They want to know how high XRP can get, or what if I never get it to my goal? Those questions take your attention away from what's important. Because the world financial system is moving in the right direction when you look at the real math, the real use, and the real direction. It's no longer possible to ignore one truth. As it turns out, it doesn't take much XRP to make sure you never have to worry about money again. And that's exactly what we're doing now. Not ideas or dreams, but real numbers, real situations, and real results that regular people can see happen. How much XRP you need to retire is completely up to you and how you want to live your life. Are you going to stay in your own country, change where it costs less, or maybe you want a way of life that has nothing to do with where you live, have kids, married? Are you in charge of a large family? There are many things that can change the number, so it's not what people think it is. This number has to do with what XRP is when it changes from a digital asset to a global financial system. To retire, you don't have to sell XRP at a certain price. In fact, selling won't make the next group rich at all. It'll come from a better source. A way to make passive income based on lending, staking, institutional yields, asset flows in the real world, and global liquidity routes that need large, stable pools of XRP. Before we start with the situations, I want you to fully understand this. Everything changes when banks fully support XRP. Real-time settlement is the norm. Tokenized assets rule the world's markets, and cross-border liquidity, CBDCs, and XRP all come together on a single digital bridge asset. When that happens, XRP is no longer seen as a simple token, but as the thread that holds the modern financial world together. That's when the worth finally shows how useful something is. People then understand they didn't need 50,000 or 100,000 XRP to make a difference in their lives. That number is a lot less than that. This is the part that almost no one talks about. Done-for-you cash. The key that changes the whole discussion is passive income. Do not sell your XRP to retire. Instead, use it to retire. Once XRP is used in a fully developed financial system and banks, institutions, payment providers, trade networks, governments, and global markets settle transactions in real time on the ledger, there will be a constant need for deep liquidity. This will lead to ongoing opportunities for yield, lending, liquidity provision, infrastructure level yield, and real institutional demand. This is the key to being free for a long time. Let's use real numbers to break it down. Suppose XRP gets to $1,000. Now take a break. Let me show you the math so you can see what's possible. I'm not going to tell you what XRP will hit. A 4-digit XRP price makes logical sense if it were used as a global liquidity layer to support trillions of dollars in tokenized settlement. But let's keep our attention on the numbers. If you hold 5,000 XRP, they are worth $5 million at a price of $1,000 each. Now picture getting an extremely conservative 5% yearly yield from an institution. With no work, that's $250,000 a year. That's more than $20,000 coming in every month as long as you keep your full job. You are in the top 0.1% of earners in the world with that much money. You could live anywhere. You might be able to live very well. You could take care of your family for many years. Don't forget that you didn't have to sell a single XRP to get that money. But I understand what you mean. That's fine, but let's be safer. That's okay. Let's move on to plan B. XRP gets to $200, which is a much smaller amount. Still a very good idea when you look at it in terms of world utility. If XRP is worth $200 each, then $5,000 XRP is worth $1 million. At a 5% yield, that's about $50,000 a year or about $4,000 a month based on how the structure is set up. It's already enough to replace the average salary in a lot of places around the world. And once more, That's not counting sales. This is why a lot of people get the goal wrong. Unless you just want more options, the goal is not to stack 50,000 or 100,000 XRP. Lots of people don't need that much. The average person needs a number that lets them make money without doing anything. That's because passive income is what makes long-term holders into winners over time. After this, things start to get interesting because new information on how XRP is distributed says that if you own 5,000 XRP, you are in the top 10% of users. If you've ever thought about why that number is important, it's because of something that not many people know. If the world moves to real utility, owning XRP will become a story of supply and demand like we've never seen before. The amount of XRP that can be bought and sold on exchanges is decreasing as big investors take higher positions. Once the system gets bigger, most people won't even be able to buy small amounts. Now you know why 5,000 XRP is such a strong number. You can get there or work toward it because it sets you up to be a part of the future of finance, not just make money during a short-term rise. But let's take this further. It's not just the number that's important. It's what that number lets you do. If you have 10,000 XRP, you have more options. You might want to sell a little bit early. You might want to buy a house, speed up a project, put money into a business, or take an early return without touching your long-term investments. Even more doors open when you have 15,000 XRP. For instance, if you sold 5,000 XRP for $500, you would get $2.5 million, which is more than enough to change your life right away. Still, you'd keep a strong position for the long run. But the main idea is still the same, despite everything else. People can realistically aim for and reach 5,000 XRP in the next 5 to 7 years, not over decades or even half a lifetime. It could happen much sooner, though, based on how quickly institutions adopt the new financial rails that are being built right now. The world is quickly moving toward on-chain settlement, real-time liquidity, and tokenized value. But many people still don't understand how it works. As these new systems become the norm, people who have large amounts of XRP will start to gain from a system that has been slowly coming together for more than 10 years. When XRP starts to show real usefulness, the price will not change in the way people are used to seeing them. It will change in a way that is psychological. They will go deeper, move faster, and make better decisions. A system that deals with trillions of dollars doesn't behave like a normal crypto cycle. It moves for a reason. And a lot of people will be priced out when that wave starts. People who sell for $5 will think they made the right choice. Then they'll rush back in at $10, let out a scream, sell at $20, wait for a drop that never comes, and tell themselves they'll buy back lower. While they wait, XRP keeps building its place as a key part of the financial system. Some people will gain right away, though. Those who hold on for a long time, those who keep their cool, and those with a simple plan. They did not miss the chance because they did not close themselves off, so they did not give up long-term positioning for short-term feelings. They knew what the formula meant. This is the method. If XRP is needed for world liquidity, its value will rise along with it. You can't expect a system made to handle trillion-dollar trades to work on a product with little value and little liquidity. It needs more depth. It needs to be stable. It needs a higher price that allows for a smooth world settlement. And the people who held on to their shares long enough to see the world improve its finances will gain from the higher price. This is why changing your life doesn't need 50,000 or 100,000 XRP. You need to be patient, consistent, and have a number that works logically in both weak and strong utility situations. That number always ends up being around 5,000 XRP for most people, because 5,000 XRP doesn't depend on crazy price goals to make passive income that can change your life. It only depends on the system getting better. It's also getting better very quickly. More institutions look into real-time payment every week. More and more countries are switching to digital money. More things in the real world are being made ready to be tokenized. More foreign businesses are looking for cross-border payment systems that are faster, cheaper, and better at what they do. In the middle of all of these needs is the same need. This is an impartial asset that can move value between networks quickly, reliably, and with final payment. Because XRP meets all of the requirements so well, the long-term outcome becomes a matter of growth rather than chance. Let's look more closely at the real money stuff that's going on behind the scenes, because this is where knowing how the system works gives you an edge that most people don't have. One thing is going to happen when XRP becomes the funding layer for tokenized value. There is a need for liquidity sources. Institutions will need to work with others. They will need people who can put money into the system. In order for the network to be deep, they will need holders. They will also get paid a yield for offering that liquidity. Now is the time when owning XRP changes it from a risky asset to a useful asset. Take a look at this. You don't have to sell your XRP, it works for you. Instead of looking for the best time to get out, you make money every day while your stocks stay the same. Don't ask yourself, wait, when should I sell? You start by asking, which yield options will give me the best long-term returns? That's a totally different way of thinking. That's a rich way of thinking. This way of thinking helps people retire from digital assets instead of switching them around all the time in search of the next big thing. This is where you stand is very important. People who keep XRP will not only have a valuable asset, but also leverage when liquidity becomes the most valuable good in the digital financial system. Because of what they own, they will be able to take part in the world payment flow. Passive income is made by that involvement, and inactive income frees you up. Let's take a step back and talk about something that not many people talk about. Global differences in living. People need different amounts of XRP to retire based on where they live and how they want to live. For instance, someone who lives in a city with high costs might want to make more inactive income. Someone who lives in a place where the cost of living is much lower might find that even a small yield is enough to live comfortably. This isn't about making everyone live the same way. It's about living the way you want to live. The numbers keep showing the same thing in almost all situations, spanning the whole range of lifestyles. To my surprise, 5,000 XRP is very strong. Let's break it down into easy ways of living. In many places, you need about $1,000 to $1,500 a month in passive cash to live a simple life. That's about $12,000 to $18,000 a year. In most countries, you need between $2,000 and $3,500 a month to live a moderately happy life. That's about $24,000 to $42,000 a year. A strong upper-class life costs between $4,000 and $8,000 a month in many parts of the world. That's about $48,000 to $96,000 a year. In all of these cases, an annual yield of 5% shows you exactly how much principal you need to live the way you want to live without selling the principal. It's easy math. At 5%, you need $1,000 to make $50,000 a year. That's the very reason the $200 case is so important. It gives most of the world's households what they need, and when you buy 1,000 XRP, the $250,000 yearly yield looks very different. That much money gives you full freedom no matter where you live. Once more, the premise stays the same. This is what makes XRP unique. You're not counting on selling the item to help you retire. You're counting on the asset becoming a part of world financial activity. You're counting on the system to reward people who take part. That's why people who hold for a long time have an edge. They are set up for a future economy where XRP is not only important but also necessary. Let's talk about another important factor now: time. The changes to the world's banking system won't take decades. The event is happening now. Banks are making improvements to their systems. Payment service companies are moving toward settlement in real time. Central banks are trying frameworks for digital currencies. Tokenized supply lines are being looked at by businesses. The world is moving toward a financial model that works like the internet, not like standard settlement speed. This means that you have a limited amount of time to get real XRP. Because of this, those who know the time frame, 5 to 7 years or even faster, are moving with purpose. They're not trying to get everything just right. They are just placing themselves in the same way every time. And once a person has around 5,000 XRP, each extra XRP makes it even more powerful. Being clear is important. Set clear goals, make numbers clear, very clear setting, a clear picture of what XRP turns into. It's never hard for people who make it to the other side. They stick to the plan, they don't move, they know how the system works. They let time and usefulness do the hard work. This is not advice about money. Flexibility is one of the best things about keeping XRP for a long time that people often forget about. A lot of people think in terms of all or nothing. They think they will either hold on to everything forever or sell everything at the top. But that's not how you get rich in the long run. When you have structured freedom, you're truly wealthy. The skill to make smart moves along the way that won't hurt your long-term situation. Because it works in a utility-driven financial environment, XRP gives you that chance more than almost any other asset. Your XRP doesn't just sit in a wallet when it fully turns into infrastructure. As a part of a world network, they become useful. They get paid, they make money available, they allow tokenized movement of assets. You don't have to give up your main job in order to be financially free. Instead, The freedom comes straight from your position. That's what's great about digital assets that are based on usefulness. Long-term holdings are still safe, and you can still gain from the system they power, but flexibility is important for planning your living even if you don't have passive income. Being wealthy isn't just about how much money you have. It's about how you can reach and use that wealth in a smart way along the way. This is why having a meaningful amount of XRP becomes so important. Having 10,000 or 15,000 XRP puts a person in a situation where they can take some profits at smart times without putting their future at risk. When the asset moves in big asymmetric waves, which has always been one of XRP's defining traits, even small amounts can create real leverage. When the price of XRP hits a meaningful level, selling a small amount can give you money that makes your life much better. For some, that could mean getting rid of high-interest debt, getting rid of financial stress, or getting more cash flow each month. For others, it could mean putting money into a business, buying property, paying for repairs, or getting the freedom to change careers, move, or look for a new chance. You don't have to sell your whole position to make these life-changing moves. They only want you to gather gains in a smart way. This way of thinking is what sets long-term wealth builders apart from short-term traders. Traders who are smart know that the goal is not to time the market exactly or hit the top. The goal is to get value from important times while keeping the long-term growth engine in place. You can use the market to speed up your life without hurting your future prospects if you lock in smart wins at the right times. And this is the main idea behind passing down wealth from generation to generation. You choose actions that are good for the present without giving up the future's power to grow. When people hurt themselves, they either sell too soon out of fear or hold on too long out of greed. People who enter the market with a plan to protect their core stack, on the other hand, always come out on top. The long-term outlook is still good for XRP because it is set to play a part in global liquidity, settlement, and cross-border value transfer. Ordinary investors use asymmetric opportunities to become free for life by leaving their core investments alone and selectively buying stocks when prices rise. There's no need to guess. Setting up, planning, and carrying out with determination are important. That's how real wealth is made that lasts. Think about someone who has 15,000 XRP. If the price of XRP goes up to $500 and they only sell 5,000 XRP, they'll have $2.5 million in cash. Cash that changes lives. On the other hand, they still have 10,000 XRP to ride into the age of future utilities. That really shows how flexible you are. There's no need to sell everything. It's about giving people choices, and having choices is the best way to be financially free. Still, not everyone needs to go for big stacks. 5,000 XRP is still a lot of power. It's doable for most people who are patient and disciplined. The number works in more than one situation because passive income is so important to the future of this asset. Someone with 5,000 XRP doesn't need it to hit astronomical levels to secure a solid future. They simply need the system to develop. And the system is already developing right in front of our eyes. The next big shift happening worldwide is the normalization of tokenized value. Everything, currencies, stocks, commodities, real estate, financial contracts, shipping documents, insurance instruments, and even corporate payments will gradually move on to digital lines. This isn't guesswork or distant theory. It's already begun. Governments, banks, and major institutions are actively building tokenized systems because they understand the efficiencies, automation, and transparency that digital value provides. But once things are tokenized, they need a way to move. Tokens that don't do anything and sit on separate ledgers don't add value. Being able to quickly, reliably, and across borders without any problems transfer value is what true transformation looks like. That needs a layer for settlement. It needs a lot of cash. This needs a bridge asset that isn't tied to any one country, platform, or political goal. Something that was designed to be fast, safe, and able to work with other systems around the world. XRP does a great job of checking all of those boxes. Because of how it's built, it can act as the link between tokenized communities, letting assets move around like data does now. This kind of technology is needed more and more as more things become digital. The world is moving toward a system where all things of value are tokens, and XRP is set up to be in the middle of that shift. Because of this, prices will not act the same way in the future as they do now. When XRP is used in high-volume settlement pipelines and trillions of dollars move daily across tokenized networks, the demand for liquidity will naturally drive up the price of XRP. This is what the system needs and what the market answers to, and people who already hold XRP won't have to do anything extra. They'll just be ready for the new way things work in the economy. What's more, this is even more important. You don't have to hit a huge number to retire. It's about having faith. Trust that your income will stay the same. Trust that the things you own are working for you. Trust that your way of life is supported without worry. A sense of freedom from having to trade your time for money. This is why the idea of idle income is so strong. It takes the place of stress with stability. It takes the place of doubt with structure. It takes away the need to sell and gives you the reward of owning. This idea is also very important to the growth of XRP, and once the asset works in a fully developed and accepted financial framework, your stocks become your cash flow engine. After that, it doesn't matter if you have 5,000, 10,000, or 15,000 XRP. You're not taking market swings into account. You are counting on the system to work. Now we get to the last easy truth. People think the retirement number is much bigger than it really is. You don't need huge stacks, impossible amounts, or very high price goals. You need to know where you want to go, be patient, understand, and have a clear plan. Many times the numbers show that 5,000 XRP is an important, strong, and attainable goal for most people. As global utility grows, it sets you up for long-term yield, long-term flexibility, and long-term financial freedom. After that, everything else is up to you. You have more options, more power, and more chances when you have more money. The base stays the same though. With 5,000 XRP, the average person can start planning their retirement within the next 5 to 7 years. This could happen sooner though, based on how quickly the market grows and how quickly people adopt XRP. You're watching this because you know what's going on. You know that XRP isn't just another cryptocurrency. It's moving up to the next level of world finance.